Hey everyone, what's up? I'm Alex, and if you love the Dallas Cowboys and everything happening inside the locker room, you've come to the right place. Before we dive in, if you're new here and you haven't yet hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications, what are you waiting for? It takes one click and you'll never miss any trade rumors, injury updates, or major moves involving America's team. Alright, today we're digging into a huge topic that has Cowboys fans buzzing. We're talking about whether the Cowboys could realistically push to land two of the biggest defensive names floating around the trade rumor mill, Maxx Crosby and Jeffery Simmons. Big names, big potential game changers, so let's unpack it from all angles. What each player brings, the current state of the Cowboys defense, whether these trades even make sense financially or strategically, who among the two is more likely, and of course the obstacles standing in the way. Let's roll into it. So first, why now do we discuss this? The Cowboys defense has had its fair share of issues. Maybe you've seen the numbers, maybe you've watched the collapse on third down or the lack of consistent pass rush. The front seven has been talked about for weeks, how Dallas may need that one big splash to flip the script into the trade rumors. On one hand, you've got Maxx Crosby, a dominant edge rusher tied to the Las Vegas Raiders. On the other hand, Jeffery Simmons, a top-tier interior defensive tackle from the Tennessee Titans, whose name keeps popping up in connection with Dallas despite reports to the contrary. Let's break down each candidate one at a time. Let's start with Maxx Crosby. This guy, he's elite, multiple Pro Bowls, a real disruptive force off the edge, the kind of player you dream of when you're trying to flip a struggling defense into one that can cause nightmares for opposing quarterbacks. The question is, does Dallas have a chance to get him? Right now, the reports say the Raiders are not interested in trading him. They've apparently had conversations with Crosby and told him he's going nowhere. Also, just because a team says they're not trading someone doesn't mean the market won't get creative, but it definitely makes it harder. However, and this is key, there are insiders who believe the rumors are not completely dead. One insider said that Dallas is actively looking for impact defensive players, and while the Raiders say we're not trading him, that could just be posturing. So, from a could Dallas push for Crosby standpoint, yes, the potential is there, but the feasibility, that's where the skepticism comes in. Now, why would Dallas want Crosby so badly? Well, if you're going to rebuild or retool your defense, adding a game changer off the edge is a huge leap. It sends a statement. It also gives you someone who can generate pressure, disrupt plays, collapse the pocket, all things the Cowboys have needed. If you think about the offense they usually run, if they can hold up their end and you give them a defense that can win one-on-ones, you're in business. Crosby fits that mold. He's a difference maker, but you also have to think, what is Dallas going to give up? What is the cap hit? How does that fit their roster? Because you can't just drain your future to win now unless you're ready to commit. Switching gears, Jeffery Simmons, the inside presence, the big body, he's one of those interior defenders who can clog up the run, push the pocket, make blockers pay for a Cowboys defense that has given up too many chunk plays and too many easy runs. An upgrade inside could be just as meaningful as an edge rusher. There has been linkage between Dallas and Simmons, but again, the Titans have been clear they're not planning to trade Simmons. He is untouchable according to recent reports. So, similar story, interest exists, but the reality of making that trade, it's fraught with difficulty. So where does that leave us? Let's think of it as a decision tree for the Cowboys. If Dallas goes big and says we want a top-tier defender right now, they might try for either Crosby or Simmons, or theoretically both, though that's unlikely. If they decide trade cost is too high or the target is blocked, maybe they pivot to plan B, a slightly less heralded player, cheaper with less commitment. Another consideration, timing. We're getting close to the trade deadline, so momentum matters, and willingness of the current team to move a guy matters even more. Let's evaluate obstacles specifically for Crosby contract situation and the Raiders' stance. They just locked him and they say they're not trading him. Would Dallas have to send a huge package, high pick and players to get him? Salary cap implications and how it fits Dallas roster. Injury concerns. Crosby had an ankle surgery recently. Would it make sense for the Raiders to trade him this cycle for Simmons? Titans saying he's untouchable value. What kind of return would they want? Fit in Dallas, his style, his health, his contract. Other interested teams increasing the bidding war or scaring Dallas off now. Hey race, where I as your host Alex want to ask you, yes, you watching right now, a question. What do you think if you were in the Cowboys front office? Would you rather go for a game changer like Crosby or Simmons now, or would you build more incrementally cheaper younger guys And save flexibility. Drop your answer in the comments below once this video ends. We'll revisit your picks in the next one. Also, let's talk about what this means for the current Cowboys defense if they don't land either. Because making the push is one thing, not landing is entirely another. If Dallas misses out on both, they still need to upgrade. That could mean missing the chance to make the leap this year, or it could mean more creative moves, multiple smaller trades, free agency signings, rookies stepping up. The danger is you get stuck in the gap between we're not elite and we're building for the future, and the fans start demanding results. So making a bold move could be the difference between being a playoff contender and being a team with high hopes but low execution. So what's more likely? If I have to pick one, I'd lean towards Dallas targeting Crosby more than Simmons, because while both seem equally off the table from the outside, the chatter around Crosby suggests not done yet. More strongly, the Simmons story seems a bit more locked down by the Titans, but even if Dallas targets Crosby, getting him will still require serious commitment. So the real question becomes, is owner Jerry Jones and GM Stephen Jones going to push that kind of money and draft capital into that spot? Are they ready to sacrifice picks or players to make that happen? Because if they're not, the move won't happen. Let me give you a scenario. Suppose Dallas offers a first-round pick, a good young player, maybe a second or third, for Crosby. The Raiders bulb, Dallas backs off. Then Dallas either pivots to someone else or they remain status quo. That scenario could frustrate fans. On the flip side, suppose Dallas does get Crosby. What does that look like? We immediately imagine the media. Dallas signs big time pass rusher, defense flips, playoff chances improved. The psychological impact alone is huge. And imagine lining him up opposite or near star pass rusher like Micah Parsons, though note Parsons is gone or dealt in some scenarios. The momentum in the locker room, the message to the league, the recruitment value, all powerful. Another dimension, how do these moves fit into the salary cap and future planning? You don't want to hamper your flexibility. You don't want to mortgage your future for now unless you're truly ready to go for a Super Bowl. So if Dallas goes heavy here, they'd better believe they can contend. If they go light, they might be setting up for a couple more years of almost. And by the way, if you're watching this and wondering what about the positional fit, I'll tell you, Crosby is an edge. He forces offenses to account for him. Simmons is inside. He changes how you defend the run and pass inside. They're different kinds of upgrades. The question for Dallas becomes, which deficiency do they prioritize more? Do they go after pressure off the edge, or do they shore up the interior gap control? The best answer, ideally both, but when resources are limited, choices have to be made. Now, as your YouTube host, I want to keep you hooked, so let's talk what ifs. What if Dallas didn't land either one? What if instead they focus on a rookie or second-tier trade target, maybe a young someone with upside? Could that still be enough? Possibly, yes, but let's be real, the wow factor is lower. The media will still ask, why didn't Dallas go all in? And the perception might be they sat on their hands, so the risk of missing out and not replacing it with something great is real. What if they pick up one of them, say Crosby, but the rest of the defense doesn't step up? Then you've got a hyped player, but maybe no other help, and you're just pinning hopes on one guy, which rarely works long term. So it's not just about the acquisition, it's about the surrounding cast and how it all fits together. Let's wrap this up. The main takeaway for me is this: yes, the Cowboys could make a push for either Crosby or Simmons. The interest makes sense, the potential upgrade is real, but the obstacles, contract, trading team stance, cost, fit, future planning are high. My bet is Dallas will try for Crosby, but I wouldn't guarantee it'll happen. If it doesn't, then well, watch how they pivot, and you as a fan should be attentive. Watch the trade deadline strategies, watch how Dallas handles their assets, watch what they're willing to give up and what they retain. Alright folks, that's our deep dive. If you enjoyed this breakdown and you're hyped for the rest of this season, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and leave a comment. Crosby or Simmons, who do you want in Dallas? I'll be reading all your picks. Stay tuned for more updates, because if there's one thing I can promise you, you don't want to miss what comes next for America's team. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Alex, and I'll see you next time. Peace.